There's no think tank, no policy organization, no battle plan creator other than us for the worldview that I think Donald Trump has and that JD has. Campaign selected me to be the platform because of their views on my policy ideas.
But Vogt says that no matter who is named, he'll be able to hand over his Project 2025 battle plans directly.
If it's someone like a Stephen Miller or Bob Lighthizer, then all this stuff gets plugged right in. If it's not, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
But all of it will be designed for a theory of the case that President, if a battle plan is out there that will do what he wants, there are the people like me that have his trust that will be able to get it to him in whatever position we're at. The brand's not important.
And you're not worried that if it has Project 2025 on, he's going to go like,
no.
And you're not going to publish those?
No.
They go straight to...
Yeah, they're very, very close hold.
Well, this breaking bombshell news is important, awkward, but really funny because we have undercover footage of a conversation with a top leader and architect of Project 2025, in which he candidly admits that he was specifically chosen by the Trump campaign to design their platform because they agree with his policies, thus totally nuking Donald Trump's desperate, dishonest attempts to distance himself from Project 2025. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bell before you go. All right, friends, first we're going to start with the clip itself. It's about 2 minutes long. It's of a private, or rather undercover conversation between a British journalist who is undercover and Russ Vought, former director of the Office of Management and Budget under the Trump administration and a lead principal architect of the wildly unpopular Project 2025. And in this 2-minute exchange, he further nukes the dishonest, desperate attempts by Trump to distance himself from Project 2025. Then once we're done with the clip, we'll get into the reporting behind it.
So I am very happy with the JD pick. I think it's transformative for sure. Yeah. And think of him as a member version of what we do.
Yeah.
So there's no think tank, no policy organization, no battle plan creator other than us for the worldview that I think Donald Trump has and that JD has. The best example is like the campaign selected me to be the platform because of their views on my policy ideas, and they're not running from all of the negativity that I get from the press.
I see. So they haven't been spooked on you as a person, you don't think?
No, I mean, I don't think I'm going to be their transition pick because then they have all these kinds of stories.
Yeah.
But no, the relationship is great.
The head of the Trump transition team has not yet been appointed, but Vogt says that no matter who is named, he'll be able to hand over his Project 2025 battle plans directly.
If it's someone like a Stephen Miller or Bob Lighthizer, then all this stuff gets plugged right in. If it's not, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
But all of it will be designed for a theory of the case that President, if a battle plan is out there that will do what he wants, there are the people like me that have his trust that will be able to get it to him in whatever position we're at. Or I could be at Center for New America, but the relationships will be there. The trust level will be there.
And are you going to rebrand that second phase at all?
For what I do?
Yeah.
The brand's not important.
And you're not worried that if it has Project 2025 on, he's going to go like,
no.
And you're not going to publish those?
No.
They go straight to...
Yeah, they're very, very close hold. Yeah.
Okay.
Brilliant. It's been an education.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Anytime.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
You can show us that.
So I am
Absolutely brutal, perhaps the death blow to the mortally injured, again, dishonest, desperate attempts by Trump to distance himself from the wildly unpopular Project 2025, and the death blow delivered by none other than one of the project's principal architects. You gotta love the irony. So CNN's reporting on this. Hidden camera video shows Project 2025 co-author discussing his secret work preparing for a second Trump term. Last month, Russ Vought sat in a 5-star Washington, D.C. hotel suite, bowing his head in prayer with two men he thought were relatives of a wealthy conservative donor. Vogt, one of the key authors of Project 2025, a right-wing blueprint for a second Trump term, expected the meeting would help his think tank secure a substantial contribution. For nearly 2 hours, he talked candidly about his behind-the-scenes work to prepare policy for Donald Trump, his expansive views on presidential power, his plans to restrict pornography and immigration, and his complaints that the GOP was too focused on religious liberty instead of Christian nationism. But the men Vaught was talking to actually worked for a British journalism nonprofit and were secretly recording him the entire time. The nonprofit, the Center for Climate Reporting, published a video of the meeting on Thursday, offering a window into the thinking of one of the top policy minds of the MAGA movement, who's been floated as a possible White House chief of staff. On that subject, as a reminder, the White House chief of staff is effectively the second most powerful person in the federal government, arguably more powerful even than the vice president, because they control access to the president. They're basically the conduit. Think of them as the hand of the king if you're a Game of Thrones fan. They're the conduit between the president and the rest of government. So it's a very important role. Trump has publicly rejected Project 2025 as Vice President Harris's campaign has sought to tie him to some of the plan's most extreme proposals. But in private, Vaught said that those disavowals were merely, quote, graduate level politics, end quote. Vaught said his group, the Center for Renewing America, was secretly drafting hundreds of executive orders, regulations, and memos that would lay the groundwork for rapid action on Trump's plans if he wins. Describing his work as creating shadow agencies, he claimed that Trump has blessed his organization and he's highly supportive of what we do. Quote, 80% of my time is working on the plans of what's necessary to take control of these bureaucracies, and we're working doggedly on that, whether it's destroying their agency's notion of independence, whether that is thinking through how the deportation plan would work, talking about the largest deportation plan in history, which Trump has publicly called for. Vaught has said the expulsion of millions of undocumented immigrants could help, quote, save the country. Once the deportations begin, quote, you're really going to be winning a debate along the way about what that looks like. And so that's going to cause us to get off of multiculturalism just to be able to sustain and defend deportation, right? And so it goes on like this. It keeps going, talks about the process of going undercover to get these candid answers from Russ Vought. A Trump spokesperson declined to comment on the video, but his campaign has stressed that he sets his own agenda and that Project 2025 and other conservative groups don't speak for him. So again, it goes on. I highly encourage you to check out the full reporting, the full expose by CNN. It's quite vivid. Again, it goes into details. Vaught said he had personally talked to Trump in recent months and received at least one personal, quote, assignment from him after he left office. He noted that the former president, quote, has been at our organization. He's raised money for our organization. He's blessed it. He's very supportive of what we do. That wasn't just bluster to try to land a big check, according to others in the MAGA movement. Trump and Vought have spoken at various times since leaving office, and the former president has adopted some of Vought's ideas, two sources familiar with their relationship told CNN. Quote, we've got about 350 different documents that are regulations and things of that nature that we're planning for the next administration. For example, quote, you might say, okay, all right, DHS, we want to have the largest deportation. What are your actual memos that a secretary sends out to do it? Like there's an executive order, regulation, secretarial memos. Those are the types of things that need to be thought through so you're not having to scramble or to do that later on. Those plans will not be made to the public, Vought said, but will instead be very, very close hold. Again, it goes on like this. Vought's guiding principle, he said, was simple. What would Donald do? Quote, we were always going off of if Donald Trump was head of this agency, what would he do with it? So, folks, this is absolutely damning for Donald Trump. And it's something that Vice President Harris and her campaign and every damn Democrat, both in elected office and their surrogates in media, commentary at pundits, people like me and you, viewers and audience members, we need to be spreading this word. For the record, this shouldn't be a total shock. The shock is how dishonest they are, but the idea that they've been working secretly to further Trump's agenda despite his public distancing from the project shouldn't be a surprise, because the primary conservative organization behind Project 2025, and there are dozens, hundreds, if I remember correctly, is the Heritage Foundation. And the president of the Heritage Foundation, Kevin Roberts, also kind of alluded to this recently when Trump started to distance himself. He was like, well, Trump's got to do it politically, but, we're okay. We're good. This is a reminder.
What is the relationship between the nominee and Project 2025?
Well, on one level, it's good that President Trump and his campaign distance their campaign from anything else, right? I mean, they're trying to win an election. Also, legally, it's important for people to know that Project 2025 is independent of any candidate. We've put this together for any candidate to lean.
So again, he's like, listen, it's really good. He's trying to win an election and we're political dead weight. So it's good that he's publicly saying these things when in private, the relationship is wildly different. I mean, this is just a desperate attempt at, self-defense, so to speak, because Trump knows his values, his policy proposals, his ideas are wildly unpopular. I mean, the polling on Project 2025 has been dismal, as we've discussed in the past. So Trump is just panicking. And this will go further along as long as we make sure this story spreads, as long as we make sure the video circulates, as long as we make sure the sources are cited and easily accessible. This is going to further damage Trump's already damaged campaign and perhaps deliver a mortal blow to that as well, although time will tell. Let me know what you think in the comments.